Skippy's here. Hey Taryl, I need this tire fixed.
Okay, Skip. Where's it leaking from?
Well, I'm not sure, Taryl. That's why I brought it to you. How much is this gonna cost me anyway?
Well, that all depends on where it's leaking from. It could be leaking from the bead. It could have a puncture in it. It could be dry rotted, leaking through the side, and we'd have to put a tube in it.
I don't like inner tubes, Taryl.
Why do you hate inner tubes?
I had a bad experience as a kid. I got stuck in an inner tube and I couldn't get out. I almost drowned.
Well, you're not going to be floating around the pool on this inner tube. It's going to be inside the tire, if we put one in there.
Oh, this tire says tubeless though, so I don't think you can put a tube in it.
Yeah, you can put a tube in a tubeless tire, Skip. It'll just be a tubed tire. What do you want me to do? Change the name on it to put tube tire on it instead of tubeless?
Actually, yeah, you think you could grind the less off right here?
No.
Okay. So, you want to show me how to do this or what?
Okay, you want to go back there and watch me fix the tire?
Yeah, that would be great.
Alright, well let's go in the back and I'll show you how to fix that tire. Okay, Skip, first thing we need to do is find out where the air is leaking from. So we gotta air up the tire.
Oh, well, what if it's got a really small hole? How are you gonna find that?
I'm gonna show you. So we need to air up the tire first. We need to put some air in it. This is a back tire on a lawn tractor. Holds about 10 pounds is what you should have it at.
Oh, okay. Whoa, don't overfill it now.
Oh, I can hear it leaking already.
Oh.
So the way to find that leak is you gotta have some soapy water. This is just water and dish soap.
Okay.
So what we want to do is we want to check to see if it's leaking around the bead, leaking from the valve stem, check that side, see if it's leaking. If it was leaking from the bead, it would be bubbling. No. Oh, there it is.
Right there, I
Yep.
see.
So we can just put a plug in there, a tire plug.
Okay, Taryl.
And that's just one of these. But you gotta have a tool to put it in.
Looks like a piece of licorice.
You wanna eat it?
I'll pass on that.
So you gotta have a couple of tools for that. Gotta have one. It's like a file. So we find the hole, which is right here. And you gotta jam this in there. Like file it.
Now it's really coming out of there.
Yeah, now I put a big hole in it, Skip. And you take one of these here tire plugs. It's all stuck in there, or as you called it, licorice. Pull it out of the pack. And you want to eat that, Skippy?
I'll pass on that, Taryl.
And you got to put it in the tool. See how it fits in there? Kind of even it up. Make it even.
Okay.
And then they give you glue in this kit. But I have glue in a can because we do so many. This is tire repair cement. And then I put the cement on the plug. And then you jam it in the hole. You go easy till the plug goes in, push it in, Pull it up a little bit, twist the tool.
Oh, wow. That looks pretty easy, Taryl.
Now we're going to let that glue sit for a minute before we air it back up. So that's just one way of fixing a tire.
Okay.
With the plug. So that's about the cheapest way. So you got off pretty cheap.
Oh, well, that's great, Taryl.
You want to see some other ways of fixing tires?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's set yours off to the side and let that cement set up. Now here's an old tire.
Looks pretty dry rotted.
Oh, you know what that is? Dry rot?
Oh, yeah. I've had a couple of dry rotted tires in my day.
So we're going to air it up. We're going to take the soapy water. And we're going to see if this one's leaking. See if this one's got a leak somewhere. Sometimes you got to give it. Oh, yeah. See, right away. See, right there, Skippy?
Oh, yeah.
Now it's leaking through the dry rot. Look, it's leaking everywhere through the dry rot. Let's see about this side. Put some more fresh soapy water on it.
Looks like it's leaking right there,
Oh
Taryl.
yeah, you can see it. Now, some people will want to put that fix-a-flat stuff in there. Now that fix-a-flat stuff does not fix dry rot. It's only for punctures.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want to put that fix-a-flat stuff in a dry rotted tire. It ain't going to seal that dry rot. So the only way to fix this is with an inner tube.
Okay, Taryl.
So this is a tubeless tire. We're going to put a tube in it. You're not going to get scared, are you?
Don't show me any tubes. I don't want to see it.
So now we got to take the air out. So you got to have one of these valve tools. Valve removal tool. For removing the... Oh, I hope that wasn't going to blow you over.
Almost blew me over, Taryl.
Now, see, I got a tire machine here, like a full-size tire machine. But most people aren't going to have this. But they can go and buy this little bench-mounted tire machine, which works basically the same as this, just a smaller version. You can get this at Harbor Freight. You know what Harbor Freight is?
Yeah, I get the sale paper all the time.
Yeah, and you'll get 20% off. So I got my machine modified so I could take this off and put this machine on my machine here. But this one you can actually mount to a bench top. Now this tire tool, Skip, has got a bead breaker that comes with it. It hooks onto here, it's got a quick pin. But this tool would have to be mounted to a workbench in order to use the bead breaker.
Okay.
So we're not going to use that. We're going to use my bead breaker here.
Alright, Taryl.
That's on my machine. So that just breaks the bead off the tire.
Oh, wow.
To get it ready for you. And then we got to unthread this. And then take off these spacers. And sometimes you have to take this part off so you have enough shaft sticking through so you can dismount the tire, depending on the size of the tire. If it was a big tire like yours, we would probably take this off because we got to have enough shaft sticking through. But this little tire, we could just leave that little plate on it. And then you figure out how many spacers you need. We only need the one. And you tighten this on there. Then they give you this dismounting tool. This is going to take the tire off and put it back on. So to end with the ball, you lock that in there. And you're going to want to push the tire down to the skinniest part of the rim. Then you pull it up, and then again you're going to need that soapy water like a lubricant to help get the tire off. Then you just pull on this, hold this with one hand. Sometimes you got to put your body into it, and see, tire comes right off.
Oh, wow.
Now if you want to take the tire completely off, you would just get this on the other side and do the same thing. Now you can get the tire completely off. But since we're putting a tube in it, we don't need to take it all the way off.
Okay.
But we do need to get rid of that valve stem. And I'll talk a little bit about valve stem. Now you need a pair of cutters. That's what we use. When we just cut that valve stem, a pair of side cutters and get it out of there. Now say you broke a valve stem and needed to replace one, Skip. They have a tool for that too. So you can buy a valve stem and then you take this tool, which is threaded, and then you put the notch on the rim, and then when you push on the lever, it pops the valve stem in. But I'm not going to pop it in there because then I got to cut it to get it out.
Oh, wow. That's a crafty little tool you got there.
So that's a valve stem tool installer. That's what it looks like to put a valve stem in. So now back to putting the tube in. So now, to put this tire on, all we need is just for it to be wet with some soapy water, and we can just push it on. See?
Oh.
You don't have to use any tool to put it on. You can just push it on. So this tire is a 15 6x6. Let me put my glasses on here. 15 6x6. Now what that means is it's 15 inches this way, it's 6 inches wide, and the rim is 6 inches.
Oh, okay.
So that's what those mean. Like your tire, what does your tire say?
I don't know.
Your tire says 20 10x8. So it means it's 20 inches this way, 10 inches this way, and it's got an 8-inch diameter rim. So that's what that means. That's how you read tire size.
Okay.
So let me get a, there ain't no 15 6x6 tube right in there. How am I gonna put a tube in your tire now?
Luckily it's not my tire.
What'd you do, take the tubes because you're scared of them?
Maybe I did.
I think there's some in my house. Let me go get one.
Okay.
All right, I got more tubes.
Get away!
Have a tube, Scotty!
Get away from me!
Never heard of anybody had an inner tube fetish or scared of a phobia. I mean, not a fetish. That would mean you'd like them. You got an inner tube phobia. All right, get back over here. All right, now when you're putting the inner tube in, it's got a blue line on it. Most of the time that means that goes down.
Okay.
You want the blue line down. If you're not sure, just look to see where the stem is. But most inner tubes got a line on it, blue side down. And we're going to take the cap off. So now you just shove the tube in there. Don't be scared.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
inner tube phobia. Then line up the stem. Now what happens is that stem wants to slip back down in there. So I made a tool out of a locking collar, and then I put a thumb screw in it. And what that does is hold the valve stem for me so it don't slip back in. Alright. Again, put a little soapy water on there for lubricant. And then use this end of the tool now. We slip that over this. And you got to push down. And you'll get it started. You got to push. You got to push the tire down to the small part. And you got to kind of hug it.
I don't think I have the strength for that.
There. Got to use a little brute force, but it will go on. My big tire machine, it hooks on. It's got a hook.
Oh, okay.
So now it's ready. So now we can put some air in it. And then the bead will seat back on there. Now you're going to get some air that's going to rush out around the stem. Then you'll need a tire gauge. This is a front tire, so you want about 14 psi in there. Ten, 14. Then you put the cap back on. Don't forget my little tool. So that's another way. That's how you can fix a dry rotted tire, by putting a tube in it.
Oh, that's great.
Now say you had a tubeless tire and it was leaking around the bead.
Okay.
They got stuff called bead sealer. Tire bead sealer. It's like rubber. It's like a glue. So you'd break the tire down, you'd bust it down so you could get at the bead, and then you would put this goop all around the bead. Probably do it on both sides. And then you would air up the tire and get the bead to pop on there. Now sometimes you can't get the bead to pop on there. So they make other tools, like this tool here. This tool you can put on a tire. If this was a tubeless tire, had no tube in it, and then you would put air to this, and it squeezes the tire. So you can get the bead to seat when you put air in it.
Whoa, that's pretty clever.
So say you're putting air in and you couldn't get the bead to seat. See, this is where you would put that bead sealer, all in here. You would just take that brush and brush it all in there. And then this tool squeezes the tire. So you tighten up that strap and you put some air to it.
Oh, look at that.
And it squeezes the tire to get the bead to seat. And when you want to release it, you just loosen this. And the air comes out. But if you don't have one of these, you could use a ratchet strap. That's why we got these hanging here. You put a ratchet strap on. It does the same thing. Put a ratchet strap around the tire. Crank down on the strap. And it'll squeeze it enough to where you can get the bead to seat. Sometimes you got to put two straps on, like a bigger tire like yours. You might want to put one strap here and one strap here to get the bead to seat.
Okay, I got you there.
And then they make another tool that I also have, which is for seating the bead. And that's one of these air tanks, air blaster.
Wow.
I bought this one, I think it was $50.
Oh,
they make bigger ones. So for this, you have to be careful. A little tire like this, you're probably not going to want to go to the yellow. You'd probably want to go halfway, because you might overinflate the tire. But to air this up, you just stick that on there. And watch the gauge. Now, of course, red is danger. I usually fill it up in this green area, close to the yellow. Then you shut off the valve. You can release the air. So that would be for like your tire, Skip.
Okay.
Here, let's bust the bead off.
Alright. You're not gonna charge me extra for this, are you?
Maybe.
Oh.
So say you couldn't get your bead to seat, you'd stick this on there, and you want to have it up against something solid. So I'm going to put it up against my tire machine.
Okay.
And then you just hit this lever. Let all the air out at once.
Oh.
See, it pops it right back on there. And then you got some air in there.
Oh wow, look at that.
So this is a handy dandy tool to have.
Sure looks like it.
Now say you got a hole in your tube.
Ugh.
Say that guy runs something over and gets a hole in that tube, and then he wants to patch it. Next I'm going to show you how to patch an inner tube. Don't be scared, Skip. I'm going to show you how to patch a tube.
Okay.
So first thing again, we got to find out where it's leaking from. I can hear it. You can use the soapy water. There, right there.
Oh, look at that.
So you're going to want to mark that so you know where it's at. If I can get the stupid marker out of my pocket. Right there. So you're going to want to let all the air out again. You're going to need your valve removal tool.
I'm gonna have to get me one of those.
You got to have tools to fix stuff. And we're going to rough up the rubber to get it in preparation for the patch. So I use a little angle grinder with a wire wheel on it.
That's not gonna put another hole in it, is it?
It could. Now you can put Fix-A-Flat in a tube. They sell tubes with green slime in it already. I had some motorcycle tires that had slow leaks on them, and they were a bear to get the tire on and off. And I didn't want to mess with trying to get it, take it off and patch the tube and put it back on. So I just put some tire sealant in the tube, and they never leaked. So you can put tire sealant in an inner tube if you've got a small puncture. But if you want to patch it, this is how I do it. So you want to rough it up, and you want to get that rib off of there if you can. But again, if you go too deep, you will rub right through the inner tube and ruin it. Oh, see, I did get that rib off of there. That little bit of rubber flashing. Alright. So our hole was right about there. There it is. So I can see the hole again. Right in that area. So now you want to take the same cement that we used on the plug. You want to put it on the tube. Then you want to get your patch. Try not to touch it. And I also like to put some on there too. So now you got to wait a little bit until this sets up. And then you're going to stick the two halves together. So just be patient. Go get something to drink, cold drink, go watch some TV for a minute. And we'll come back, put the patch on. Now we just got to stick the two together. And then I like to clamp it. I like to use a jed. I like to use a jed on that. A jed clamp it. Get it? So I take 2 pieces of wood and one of these spring clamps. And then clamp it for about 5 minutes. And put the valve stem back in. Alright. Now I'm gonna go have another cold drink. Wait 5 minutes. This is like a 2-beer repair. Okay, took the clamps off. I aired up the tube. And it's sealed. It looks good. It ain't leaking. So this inner tube's good to float on.
I wouldn't want to do that.
It's all good, Skippy. Here you go!
Get that away from me.
Skippy's afraid of inner tube phobia. And there's your dinner on fixing tires and tubes.